After another disappointing loss to the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis, the Magic limp into the All-Star break at 28-25. I'll go over the numbers from the last 11 games and update the player power rankings. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by a Magic fan. I'm Edwin Valentine, and I want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. Got to do the normal YouTube things, like, share, drop a comment below on how you felt the last 11 games before this All-Star break went. Can't wait to see those comments. And if you want to do so, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any content that I produce. We'll get right to it. So the last 11 games have been more of the same, other than instead of win one, lose some, win one, lose some, it's been win a few and then lose a few, win a few, then lose a few. So we really haven't hit our stride, and I don't know if we're really going to hit our stride for the rest of the year, to be honest. When you look at how the team has played, it's just been way too dysfunctional on offense to really hit a 5-game in a row winning streak, or to be able to get 4 games in a row right now. We couldn't even do 4 games in a row against 2 against Milwaukee. We got lucky, or were given that game against Utah, and Brooklyn we were able to beat pretty decisively, which we hadn't had one of those since November. So this team just doesn't have it offensively for whatever reason, and because our defense isn't what it was last year, it's just not going to be that kind of year. So we're really going to have to work to get to 41-41 again, I think, this year, and see where that's going to leave us. Likely again, it'll put us in the play-in round, and if we are able to get Franz healthy by the end of the year, fully healthy, then possibly we can make a run in the playoffs. But right now, with the offense that we're running, I think we're too easy to scheme against, especially when you see us multiple games in a row. So I don't really know what we're going to do in the playoffs, but let's be positive. It's something that, again, Franz can come and just hit like a lightning bolt, a shot of adrenaline. And if he's super healthy and he's playing well, then who knows? Maybe that'll just be the elixir that we need, and we'll be able to make a surprising run to the Eastern Conference. So you never know. Crazier things have happened. Now let's go through the stats, I would say. So if you're new, I have a few columns here. The far left column is the stats from last year. Then we have the stats from the 42nd game, because I've been doing 10 game increments, mostly from starting with game 22, 32, 42. So now I didn't do 52 since we had only one more game before the All-Star break. So I did 53. So that's why we have those 2 columns there, partially just to see just in the last 10, 11 games how different the team's stats are, which kind of give, again, they tell you the story of what's going on with the team. So if we look at the points per game from the game at Memphis, well, actually, this was in Europe. So in game 42, the Magic were averaging 116.1 points per game, and now they're down to 115.1. And that's what we've seen. I've mentioned it multiple times in multiple videos. The defense is what it is. We're not playing as stout of defense that we normally have, or we have in the last few years. It's our offense, and it's really just that simple. There's not much to talk about other than that. We see that Desmond was brought in to shoot threes. He doesn't shoot as many threes this year. Paolo is not getting as many easy looks as we had hoped. Franz was getting in transition a lot more, and so is Paolo a little bit. They were getting in transition, and that's how they were getting some easier baskets, but it's in the half court that we need easier baskets. It's not just always going to be we have to take the ball away and run up the court and get an easy basket. We need to make things easy on the guys in the half court, and the schemes that we have been using so far just haven't done that. So in 11 games, dropping a whole point per game, even though we still rank 19th, it's not where we want to be. We want it to be much better on offense this year, and just unfortunately, for whatever reason, it just has not happened. So if you look at the other rankings, we rank 25th in field goal attempts, 19th in field goal percentage overall. In three-point field goal attempts, we're 23rd. We're at 33.7. I would love, even though we've seen it's gone up a 3-point shot per game in these last 11 games, I'd rather us be where we were last year at 35 per game. because we're shooting better. We're not at 31% like we were last year. We're at 33.7%. And that's because we haven't shot all that well. But it's also because the guys that are shooting the threes are the guys that really shouldn't be. They're open for a reason. And that's just the way our offense is run. And in the game of basketball, that's a good thing, right? Like you give it to the open man, you shoot it, and that is what it is, and it makes sense. But Ji in the corner, wide open, is that really still our best shot? I don't mean for Paolo to shoot over two guys or do anything like that, but if we run a different action for Desmond to come off curl, I'd rather him with a hand in his face or even a step back from Desmond. I'd rather have that shot over a wide open Ji in the corner, right? So that's the type of shots that we're getting right now. Not as many from the corners. We are really good. We are a very, very, very good corner shooting team. And unfortunately, we don't get that many. We don't generate that many corner threes. And it's just unfortunate. We should be really trying to churn those out because all of our guys, most of our guys, shoot really well from the corners. And it's just something that we're just not doing. But anyway. Our offensive rebounding, you can see our offensive rebounding and just our rebounding in general in the last 11 games has really slipped. We were at 11th in all three categories: offensive rebound, defensive rebound, and overall rebounding. Now we're 18th, 19th, and 19th in those categories by dropping about one rebound in each category less per game. And we can see that. You can feel that. That's just something that's happening. Wendell is not rebounding where we need him to be. Again, partially that is per scheme because we have him switching. He's going to be further away from the basket, so it's going to be harder for him. He's going to have to crash further to be able to get rebounds. That's why Paolo's doing a better job of rebounding, but we're just not getting those long rebounds, and we don't give up that many second chance opportunities. To be fair to the Magic, even when we give up some offensive rebounds, it's just they're when they happen, it feels like they're a backbreaker each time, and that's what's really disappointing. Assists, we're basically still 14th in the league, which is I think is much better than when we were last year when we were 30th in the league. Turnovers, we've done a better job recently on turnovers, much better than what we were earlier in the year when we were turning the ball over like crazy. But still, we hadn't been as good turnover wise until just recently, and that's why our numbers look the way they do there. Steals, we're about 12th in the league in steals. It's not where we need to be. That was our superpower last year on defense, was really managing the amount of possessions other teams were getting, as well as being able to just take the ball away from guys. And we're not doing that as well as we did last year, unfortunately, which is why our defensive numbers have started to spike a little bit. But yeah, so we're 12th in steals, 10th in blocks, and personal fouls. We're doesn't feel like we're fouling nearly as much as we should. I don't know. The way we were so aggressive last year when it came to defense that it just, even though Wendell is one of the guys one of the league leaders in fouls, and not drawing fouls and actually fouling the other guys, that we feel like we're always in the bonus, and that is true, but it just the type of aggressiveness just isn't the right type of aggressiveness at the right time, unfortunately, and that is what it is. If we look at the advanced stats, so last year, our offensive rating was 108.9, which is not great. It was 27th in the league, and our defense was 109.1. So we were still negative net rating on there. It was pretty close, but still negative. So we were second in that. Now, this year, we're 19th in offense. So that's better, I guess, right? Like we're 8 spots better, which is yippee. But then when you look at our defense, is 12 spots worse. So we're at 114 on the defensive rating and 113.6 in our offensive rating. So we're even more underwater in our net rating, which is obviously not great. And it's not something that is indicative of any playoff success or any real success in the regular season. So that's kind of where we are right now. Our effective field goal percentage, again, better this year, but it's still 25th in the league. True shooting, 19th in the league. Assist percentage is up at 13th in the league at 64.5%. The assist to turnover ratio, it's top 12, which is good. This is where the eye test versus the stats sometimes always aren't congruent. They always don't mean the same thing here. Offensive rebounding percentage, 30.6%, 14th. Okay, that one is better now, but as you saw, we were 8th in that just 11 games ago. So now we've dropped 6 spots in there, just barely above the middle range of all teams in the league. Defensive rebounding, we're 5th at basically 71% of defensive rebounding percentage. But again, if you look at the actual amount of rebounds we're at 19th in the league right now. So that's the type of thing. So it just means that the guys are shooting better against us, so we don't have as many defensive rebounds to take up. That might be the stat there, but either way, that's where you look at those two numbers and you're like, all right, well, the advanced stats say one thing, my eyes are saying another thing. So that's why I always like to go with the eyes, and the stats are supposed to supplement what's happening with your eyes. But sometimes when that happens, you're kind of like, what up? Then the rebounding percentage in general is top 10 still, even though it doesn't feel like that at all. Turnover percentage, we're 8th in that. Pace, we're 16th. So we're basically, seems like plateaued at 16th. So we're not going any faster than kind of what we need to. It feels like we're right at league average or a little below league average, but we'll see if the Magic start to play faster, which is what a lot of people are saying. The Magic need to play faster. They need to play faster, which is great, but running up real quick, trying to go against 1 against 4 really isn't going to do a bit of difference, right? Like you would need to really have a live ball turnover to have an advantage, because even if they hit a free throw, they hit a shot, and you inbound it really fast and you run up the court, that doesn't mean you necessarily have an advantage. It means their defense isn't set, but you still might be going against 2 or 3 guys 1-on-3. So that's why, again, I feel we need to work on getting easier baskets in the half court. And we're so deep into the season at this point that unless they use this time at the All-Star break to start installing anything new, we're kind of just going to have to roll with what we have so far this year. Now, on the defensive end, just to look at those numbers real quick, the points per game, 14th in the league, very different than the number 1 that we were last year, almost giving up about 10 points more per game. Same thing for most of the things across the board. We're 7th in field goal attempts against us, again, which is good, but the field goal percentage is 48%, so about 2% more this year than what there was last year. That's why we're 25th in that. So again, maybe that's why we don't have as many. The defensive percentage, the defensive rebounding percentage is pretty good. It's because they're shooting pretty well against us, so there's not as many available. But the ones that are available, we get. Great. The field goal percentage against, we're number 1, but we're number 20 in percentage. Offensive rebounds we allow, it's again top 5, so it doesn't really happen as often. 10 per game feels like a lot, sounds like a lot, and it kind of is a lot, but again, we're top 5 in that, and it just really, a lot of them are long rebounds for some reason. Our guys either crash too far in, or they're just not realizing that most of the shots against us, even though we are number 1, so many more shots against us are 3-point shots that there's going to be long rebounds. They're going to come out funky sometimes. So that's why we need guys to crash and just not go so far into the paint. We need to be more free throw line area, but that just hasn't happened. Defensive rebounding is 17th, so we're giving more defensive rebounds lately. Overall rebounding, we're 13th. Assist, we're 8th in assist against. So again, that means we normally like to keep a guy on the island, and if he wants to score, he scores. It is what it is. So we're 8th in that. Turnovers, we're top 10. Steals, we're not allowing as many steals, so it's basically been the same as it was last year. But we're getting blocked a lot more this year. We were 8th last year. Now we're 24th this year, which is down a little bit. And that's because Desmond is fearless in getting to the basket, but he gets blocked a lot. I mentioned that in his player profile at the beginning of the year or in the off season. and it has not changed. He will get his shot blocked, and he continuously goes. And it just wasn't as prevalent, let's say, last year because he shot a lot more threes. This year, with him just driving instead of getting either an open three or shooting more step backs or shooting contested threes, which again he's doing the right thing, right? Like he's instead of shooting a contested three, he's driving past the closeout, getting to the basket. He just is has really clever ways of getting the ball on the rim when it gets there. Otherwise, it just gets blocked, and that just is what it is. So now we'll go to the player power rankings. Now, I took Tyus out of this ranking because Tyus is no longer on the team, and I didn't want to really kick him while he was down. He unfortunately just had a really bad year with the Magic, and we wish him all the best. Seems like a really good guy. He was the easiest way to get under the tax, which is again, if you watched all my trade videos, that I gave up different options on what we could do in the trade. In the end, we did nothing. At least we weren't. It didn't feel like we did anything to make the team better, which all my trades did, in my view. So the easiest thing was to get under the tax, and they did so by just getting rid of Tyus, and that is unfortunate. Hopefully, he has a good run in Dallas, and maybe we can get him back next year on a minimum. Maybe, possibly, because unfortunately, that's likely what it's going to be next year for him. I doubt he's going to not be a minimum player anymore, with this being his last big payday. So we shall see. Anywho, now the first player. So this is number 13. So that's the player that in the last 11 games that has been played by the Magic, he's only played in 4. Goga. He's now entrenched as the third big man in the team, not getting a lot of run, unfortunately. I've said multiple times I think we really should start him, and yeah, that's just you watch those videos. I mentioned it a bunch. He's one of those guys that need more responsibility to thrive, and without that extra responsibility, he's just either going to meander or he's just not going to be effective. And if he had any trade value at all, which is what was being reported, we probably should have got off of him as well if we're not going to play him at all. Maybe he's Wendell insurance or Mo insurance or whatever. That's great, but right now that's not going to help the team. And again, we should have been helping the team at the trade deadline, and that wasn't something that happened. Anyway, so in the 4 games he's played, in the last 4 games Goga's played, he's averaged only 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist if we're really generous in the rounding, on 67% from the field, half a block. That's about it. He's played poorly. It's partially just because he's not really getting much run at all. So in the season, all his averages are starting to decline even more. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist per game on 68% from the field, 20% from 3. So Euro Goga was just that, Eurobasket Goga. So he's not shooting threes anymore, not making threes anymore. Free throw percentage, pretty good, 73%, and about 1 steal and a block, a little more than a block per game. So number 13 on the list. Hopefully he gets some more run, not necessarily due to injury, but maybe they start being more creative with some of the rotations instead of just burying him, because I think he does have value. Number 12 this week. So moving up from 13 last week. Number 12, Jett, in his last 6 games played, 5.2 points, about, if you round up 1 rebound and round up 1 assist per game, 53% from the field, 39% from 3, 86% from the field, 0.3 steals. I'm always going to be on Jett Island. I think Jett can actually play. He's not going to likely play for the Magic next year unless he comes back at a minimum. But I think wherever he plays next year, as long as he has a defined role, I think he would be able to succeed. In the season, a little less than 5 points per game, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 37% from the field overall, 33% from 3, and 94% from the free throw line with 0.3 stocks. All that reads to me is someone who didn't have a defined role. And to be honest, or to be fair, maybe he didn't earn it in practice. But for me, I think Jett is a person that can play in the NBA, and I think he will be a player that we will see down the road. Hopefully, he's not one of those guys that will be coming back to haunt us in future years. So, at number 12 is Jett Howard. Now, the next one who's moved up a couple spaces is Ji. So Ji, this is kind of slim pickings really to at this point when we're this deep into the power poll. But for me, Ji had a couple games in the last 11 that really were impactful on the defensive end. He played mostly as the backup five, or backup five really, and he was helping out a lot on defense. So it was the first time that we really felt like he was making an impact in one way or another, because before it was neither offensively or defensively, and this time it actually was at least defensively. He played in 9 of the last 11 games, scoring 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist per game, 40% from the field, 20% from three, 86% from the free throw line, which is really good for him, with 1.2 stocks in the last 9 games, averaging in the last 9 games. So for me, that's something, not offensively, obviously, but we can see that at least the blocks were a little bit more increased. He was getting a little bit more minutes. That's what we need. If he's going to end up seeing the court at all, it has to be making an impact on defense. Over the course of the season, 44 games, 3 points, 3 rebounds, less than an assist per game on 44% from the field, 20% from 19%, can't even round up to 20%, 19% from the free throw, from the 3-point, 19% from the 3-point range, and 61% from the free throw line, and 1 stock per game. So again, this wasn't the year we had hoped from Ji, offensively or defensively, and he's played in 44 games. That means there's about 8 more games to play, and then his contract will be guaranteed next year at $14.5 million. So we'll see what is going to happen with his playing time moving forward. So that's number 11. Number 10 is Jase. He's kind of stayed pat during these last 11 games. The Magic released Tyus, so we were all hoping that he's going to, that Jase was going to get more playing time and he was going to be able to show off a little bit more of his scoring touch. And so far, that has not been the case. He's played in 10 out of the last 11 games, averaging 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist per game on 27% shooting from the field, 20% from three, 86% from the free throw line, and 0.3 steals in the last 10 games. That's his average. So not what we were hoping. We were hoping he was going to not score double figures every single game or anything like that, but definitely put up more stats with kind of the backup point guard area starting to be a little more free for him to come and participate. So that, I think, has been a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. We'd hoped we would get a bit more out of Jase so far, or at least with the open runway at the backup point guard spot, because again, starting next year, he has to be our starting point guard, at our backup point guard. Starting next year, he has to be our backup point guard. Really, we're not going to be a team that's going to be able to go out and get that much talent via free agency because of how expensive we're going to be. So it's either going to be in the draft, and we don't have a first round pick, so it would have to be a second round pick if we were going to do that. And other than that, it's just going to be either minimums, or it's going to have to be the guys that we have on the team right now, and that's going to be Jase. So he needs to do much better with the rest of the season. So let's see how that goes. He's played in 39 games so far this season, averaging 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist per game on 47% from the field, 37% from three. So that last 10 games, shooting 20% really has affected his average. But even then, even shooting that poorly, we can see shooting 37% from the field, that is a positive. 73% from the free throw line, and about half a stock per game so far this season. So hopefully Jase will be able to crack the top 10, or at least be a little higher than 10, which is what he has been the last couple times we've done this. Now Noah Penda, we know, is someone that has started a couple games at this point. Due to injuries, he's been somebody that's always had a knack for being near the ball. So we see here again, it's mostly our bench. As I mentioned earlier, our bench really is I feel the biggest weakness we have on the team. So if you look at Jase's numbers, JI's numbers, Jett's numbers, Goga's numbers, Noah's numbers, and we're gonna go into Tristan's numbers. All these numbers are really low, man. Only scoring Noah in the last 11. He's played all 11 of the last 11 games. He's averaging, if you round up, 5 points. 3 rebounds, 1 assist per game, 43% from the field, 30% from three, 75% from the free throw line, and zero point 0.8 stocks per game. Those are his averages for the last 11 games. Now that's just not good enough. We need more scoring from the bench. We were hoping that would be from Jase. That hasn't happened so far. So that means Noah is going to have to start scoring in double figures more regularly, especially if AB is not going to be coming off the bench, which it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. So we need firepower. We need scoring. We need stuff from the bench. And unfortunately, the front office didn't go out and get any reinforcements. So it's going to have to be from our guys that are going to have to start proving themselves. Noah in his 38 games this season, again, if we round up, his average is 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist per game on 44% from the field, 39% from three. So that's, again, him. He's having the same issue as Jase. He kind of hit a cold streak. Maybe it's just the rookie wall, which makes sense. But even with that, their 3-point percentage is still pretty good. His free throw percentage is 64% for the year, and it's 1 stock total for Noah. But just like Jase, they both have a knack for being near the ball. So I appreciate his defense. That's why he is at number 9 on the power rankings. Then we up to Tristan. Like I said, look at the offensive production here. It's not where it needs to be, especially from Tristan. Tristan, yes, he's only in his second year, but he's been in big games. We saw it in Eurobasket. He's a much more mature player as well. He's not like Jase or Noah, who are in their very early 20s. Tristan is in his mid 20s now. He needs to be the catalyst now for the bench unit. Of course, we haven't talked about our microwave score yet, but still, Tristan has to be involved in getting. He needs to knock down threes. He needs to be getting to the basket. He needs to be getting better with scoring in the mid range, because he's been doing a lot of mid range hooks lately or different fadeaways. So he needs to get better at all of that right now, so that the Magic can begin to compete with other bench scorings, because every time you see the game, you see the amount of scoring from the other team's starters and bench, and it's much more even than what the Magic are going through right now. And it's not great. So in the last 11, Tristan has played all 11. He's averaging, if you round up, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist on 35% from the field, 30% from three, 1.4 stocks per game. So again, 30% from three. We have Jase in the 20s, Noah's in the 30s. We're just not getting any scoring from the bench, and that's really disappointing. When we assumed we would have AB and Tristan, and then Mo would come back from injury, and that would be at least a middle of the pack bench scoring unit, and right now it's not anywhere near that. For the season, in 48 games for Tristan, he's averaging 9 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist per game on 43% from the field, 37% from three, 84% from the free throw line, and 1.2 stocks per game. So Tristan almost by default ends up here at 8, just because a lot of the other guys are not performing as well. Then number 7, dropping this week from 5 to 7, is Wendell. We see over the last 11 games for Wendell, he's averaging single digits in points at 9 points per game, if you round up. 6 rebounds, 2 assists on 41% from the field, 22% from three. He's hit all his free throws, which is great, and 1.7 stocks per game, which is not bad. Again, this is what I say about Wendell. Wendell gets a lot of hate, and I get it to an extent, but I feel like it's a bit off base in that he's the 5th starter, right? We know that that's who he was coming into the season, and he's the guy that has to do all the dirty stuff, all the dirty work, and we want him to have more rebounds, of course. We want him to be able to play better defense at the rim, which he is doing a pretty good job, but just when you watch it, you understand that point of attack defense isn't where it needs to be. So then he ends up having to clean it up. And he's just not that guy who's going to sky and spike blocks. That's just not him. He's going to obstruct. He's going to get in the way. He's going to try to have his hands up. He's going to foul. These are all things that Wendell does. Nah, so in the end, the numbers are not so bad. It's just the issues when he's switching and he's out on the perimeter, and it's harder for him to get the rebounds. And then you see his numbers for rebounding for this season only at 7.4. That's really bad for a starting center, and especially for a team like ours, who we assumed we were a really tall team, really big team. But in the end, when you start looking at us compared to other teams, in the end, we're not really that long. So in the season so far, Wendell's been very healthy, which has been great to see. Maybe this last week is a good bit of time for him to take some rest, since he's played almost all the games. He's played 51 out of the 53 games, which is great. Healthy Wendell. If we would have had the Wendell that was shooting 40% like earlier in the year, still so far this deep into the season, I think that would have been great. Obviously, that's not happening. So right now for this season, he's averaging 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists per game on 49% from the field, 33% from three. It's starting to plummet. It's getting eerily similar to what happened to him last year, but last year was the whole season. This year started off really strong and he started to wane a little bit. 79% from the free throw line, 1.5 stocks overall for Wendell. So Wendell, he's the 5th starter, but he's number 7 on this list. So we see that other guys have obviously started to play a little bit better than him. Franz is who I put at number 6 because of the impact that he had in his 2 games. Now, the second game, yes, was not a great game, and now we know that he's going to be out for a significant amount of time. So it just kind of is what it is. But I had him being there at number 6. He's only played 2 games out of the last 11, averaging about 10 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists per game on 41% from the field, 33% from 3, hit all his free throws, 1 steal in those 2 games. Well, 2 steals in those 2 games, averaging 1 steal per game. Only in 28 games this season, which is really disappointing in general. Last year it was Jalen that ended up missing most of the season. This year it's going to be Franz. He's for the season averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists per game, 48% from the field, 37% from 3, 83% from the free throw line with over a stock per game. We'll see. If the Magic are able to stay afloat and not be a play-in team, that'd be great. If they end up having to be the 7th seed or 8th seed in the play-in, then I think we still can compete with other teams because of how much talent we have. I just think schematically right now we're not where we need to be, and if a team sees us more than once, and obviously they'll see us at least 4 times in a playoff setting, but still after game 1, they'll know what we're running, and then we're kind of screwed. So we just have to be Paolo, Franz, Desmond, Jalen, all our guys having to just bail us out with one-on-one play, and we'll see how that goes. But Franz was at number 6. At number 5, Mo. Mo's getting back to where we expect Mo to be in the last 11 games. He's played all 11. He's starting to bring that energy, which is great. Just unfortunately, that's not bringing the W's as they had, all that energy that him and Jalen are bringing, aren't bringing the W's as we had hoped. But in the last 11, he's averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist per game on 51% from the field, 48% from 3, 87% from the free throw line, about 0.7 stocks per game. In the 13 games he's played so far, basically they're going to be the same averages since it's basically the same thing. He's averaging 9 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist per game on 51% from the field, 45%, 46% if you round up from 3, 89% from the free throw line with 0.6 stocks per game. So we're getting the old Mo back, which is great because, again, we need offense off the bench. So if Mo is going to be that guy, he's going to be that engine, we're going to have to start playing him more minutes because we need somebody to score off the bench. And I guess Mo hopefully will be up for that. Now, big drop for AB in this one. He was number 1 in the last player power poll So now he is number 4 just because he hasn't put together the consistency that he had earlier in the year. In the last 11 games, he's averaging 17 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists per game on 44% from the field, 31% from 3, 87% from the free throw line, and 2.8 stocks per game. So, and the turnovers are down. So he's played well. I'm not saying he hasn't played well. He's just everyone was talking about kicking Jalen to the curb and because AB's here and AB's going to be here to stay. He's still not at that level, I feel, for us to just dismiss Jalen because AB has the talent. We've seen him score 30 points. We've seen him really put up really good numbers. Just the consistency is the issue right now. And he's still a young player. He's just 20, 21, 22 years old. So it's going to take some time for him to build build those calluses and just be that guy that brings the not just the stats, but brings everything every single game. So right now, even in games that we need him to be the number 3 scorer, there's a lot of times where he's still kind of in the background. So he's been much more aggressive this year. We can't be using that word anymore to make him aggressive, make him aggressive. He's been aggressive this year. It's just putting it all together for the stretch run here for the Magic. So that's AB at number 4. Number 3, we've got Jalen. Jalen doesn't have the scoring to be fair to AB, doesn't have the scoring, but it's just all the little things that Jalen is doing. So he's played 10 out of the last 11, which is great. We got to start changing the narrative about him being healthy. It's really in the end, he's going to be an injury prone player until he plays the majority of the season again, like he did a couple years back. But if he can at least string together the last 30 games of the season and really like play most of them injury free without wobbling or limping around out there, I think that'll go a long way to really changing the narrative, especially a nice long playoff run. Hopefully that will help with that. So in the last 10 games, he's averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, almost 8 assists per game, 38% from the field, 31% from 3, 80% from the free throw line with 3.6 stocks per game. The 31% from the 3-point range, as we see everyone is struggling basically from the 3-point range. And that's really as we've seen a lot of our offensive struggles come. It's not just the bench scoring only. I feel it's the biggest struggle we have, but also, of course, 3-point shooting. For whatever reason, the guys have just gone cold as a group, just collectively, as we see 30%, 20%, 32%. It's not good right now, the 3-point shooting. So hopefully they're able to turn that around for the rest of the season. In 33 games, Jalen is averaging 14 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists per game, 44% from the field, 33% from 3, 85% from the free throw line with 2.8 stocks per game. So let's hope that Jalen continues to play pretty under control, which is what he's done lately on the offensive end and distributing. He had that triple double a few games back, and he's been doing a much better job of distributing and playing point guard. So maybe having Tyus here maybe rubbed off a little bit on Jalen. So he's being a much better facilitator of the basketball and not trying to score as much. And hopefully he starts picking his spots better from 3, because I feel that he has a much better stroke than 31% from 3. I feel he really can shoot pretty well, and he's just pulling up at different points. He's not doing it within the framework of the offense. We need to get him in the corners. Like I said, everyone needs to be scoring or shooting threes from the corners, because we're actually a pretty good corner 3-point shooting team. So Jalen at number 3. Number 2, this time around, is Paolo again. Now you look at his numbers and you're gonna be like, whoa, like he's playing pretty well. And he is. It's not where we had hoped it was going to be this year, unfortunately. So partially that's on us, the expectations, right? Like he's played well enough. He could have been an all-star if the narrative wasn't so negative on him. And that's the struggle for him the rest of the year. It's going to be narrative driven. It's going to be, is he going to be able to score 27, 28 points a game for the rest of the season? Because if he does it for that extended period of time, then the narrative will change. But if he doesn't do it for a long period of time, this is going to be the narrative. Oh, empty calories guy, can't shoot, all the other stuff that we've heard a bunch of times. And I guess the media gave him a bit of a pass before because the Magic weren't expected to do much, but now that they're expected to do stuff and Franz has been out, everybody's expecting for Paolo to take the team on his back and do all the superhero stuff he's had to do in the past. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened as often as we'd like. So, in the last 11 games, Paolo's played all 11. He's averaging 23, 7, and 4 on 46% from the field, 40% from three, 77% from the free throw line with 1.2 stocks. His turnovers are less lately as well, so that is a positive. So over the course of the season, 43 games, he's averaging 21, 8, and 5 on 45% from the field. Overall, 30% from three. So we see that his 40% 3-point range in the last 11 has gotten his average up to over 30%, which is good because it was so dismal earlier in the year. He's up to 76% from the free throw line and 1.3 stocks per game. And if you have the power of deduction, that leaves just one guy left at the number one spot is Desmond. To me, he's played the best over the course of the last 10 or 11 games. It's been Desmond. He's just shot better. He hasn't been rebounding and having as many assists recently because I think that's mostly like Jalen coming out and being that facilitator. So Desmond has kind of blended in at times, just as everyone on the Magic team, unfortunately. So he's done it less, let's say. In the last 11, he's played in all 11. He's one of, what I believe, it's only 9 guys that have played and started all 53 games. So, or at least up to 53 games in the season. A lot of teams have played more than that, so that's a great thing to see because Desmond also hasn't always been the healthiest. So I was kind of building in a couple weeks off for Desmond as well at the start of the season, but he's been a rock so far for the Magic. So FTP. So in the 11 games, he's averaging 23, 3, and 3 on 57% from the field, 49% from three, and 93% from the free throw line with 1.7 stocks. That's where sometimes, again, you get kind of frustrated and why he's not shooting more threes. 53 games this year. He's averaging, if you round up, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on 47% from the field, 37% from three. So he's taking that number of the percentage at least up and up and up and up from 3-point range. Hopefully his attempts start to ramp up a little bit as well. 93% from the free throw line on 1.4 stocks per game. So that is what has happened so far in the last 11 games. Really, there's not much different from this past 11 games than from the 10 games before that and the 10 games before that, where really we were just alternating wins, alternating wins, alternating wins. Now it's not 1, 1, 1, 1. Now it'll be like 2 and then negative. Like we'll win 2 and then lose 4 and win 3 and lose. That's kind of where we've been lately. So hopefully they're going to be able to build a bit more consistency. Maybe this break comes at a perfect time. They need a break. It seems just the energy isn't there. We have in the last few years really ramped it up when we got out of the All-Star break. Paolo's scoring went up dramatically last year at the end of the All-Star break or after the All-Star break. So let's see if we are going to be able to get that level of Paolo again this year. Jalen, hopefully he can stay healthy. Franz is going to be out for another few weeks. Hopefully he's going to be back by mid-March or so, let's say mid-March, late March, so that at least he has a few games under his belt before we start the playoff run. It stinks that we didn't do anything in the trade deadline to help our bench unit, as we see our bench is really struggling right now. So maybe we're going to be able to start having some guys break through that rookie wall or Tristan is going to find his shot more regularly again, and he's not going to kind of blend into the background. And Mo is going to be able to score a little bit more now that he's played 13 games so far this year, plus this time off. Hopefully, he's going to be able to ramp up. So, as you hear, a lot of hopefullys, because right now things are not looking great for the Magic, unfortunately. The season has not gone as expected. I don't think anybody expected the Magic to be where they are now, injuries or no injuries, because really, comparatively to some other teams, we're pretty healthy. Like Wendell's played the whole season. J.I.'s played most of the season. Paolo only missed 10 games. It's not like he missed as many as he did last year. It's just Franz being out this amount of time. Jalen missing as much as he has as well. But really, it's mostly about Franz and some of Jalen. That's what the injuries have really cost us. The ability to see Jalen, Franz, and Paolo together, and then add Desmond on top of that, and then a new AB. But that would have been great to see all of them be able to really meld and be together before we start the playoffs. Is that going to be something that we're going to get? Who knows? That's why it would have been great to have some reinforcements on the bench, but that just didn't happen. So this is the team we got. This is where we're going to go. So you let me know in the comments how you felt the last 11 games have been, how you felt the first half has been. I would expect disappointment is going to be said a lot of the times. And if it is something that just unfortunately you feel, just put it down there, and do the normal YouTube things, like, share, drop that comment, and if you want to do so, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any content that I produce. And I'm going to be producing it more often now that I'm back in town, ready to go. We got the final stretch coming up, and hopefully the Magic are going to go on a bit of a winning streak here to start off, from coming back from the All-Star break, and really get into gear ahead of hopefully having at least getting to the second round of the playoffs. That feels like such a much lower bar than what we were expecting at the beginning of the season, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. We got to deal with that. So I want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. I hope you're having a great day.